there's, again, a lot of footnote information that starts on pages 86, 87, and 88. Those, again, I'm not going to walk you through that, but those pages walk you through your fund balance and all of those different restricted balances, committed balances, and whatnot that I was referring to. And again, you'll see that in the slide that you have up when we distribute those as well. But I just really wanted to give you a snapshot of what your fund balances were at the end of the year. And maybe back to your ARPA comment. Again, on page 29, if you look over to the right-hand side, you'll see that column labeled as ARPA. If you walk down that, it has cash and investments of $7.6 million. That's the amount of cash that you have on hand as of the end of 2021. And if you look down about halfway down the page in the liability section, you'll see a reference to unearned revenue, $7.6 million. I don't know if everybody's with me or not. Okay. Essentially meaning that you received that cash, you had that cash on hand, but it's considered that unearned revenue because you hadn't spent it yet as of 12/31/21. Again, once you get into 2022, I know you spent several million of it in 2022. That's where it'll show up as revenue expense, and that's when we'll start auditing those dollars. Okay. Any other thoughts or questions? Anything else that you'd like me to talk about? Anything? That's all the comments that I had planned. And I guess my emphasis or takeaway on that would be, again, certainly a good year in terms of your general fund, certainly positive with regards to human service fund, and then obviously the debt and your debt history there and the trend of coming down a little bit is certainly positive there as well. So certainly good news financially. Okay, any other thoughts or questions? Did you want to focus on the general fund or the special revenue funds? Okay. And if this is hard to see, I can point you to the footnotes too, if you'd like to see it in the footnotes. The footnotes aren't
that is that it is not allocated to anything, but it is there for purposes that are deemed necessary by the board or by the executive.
So there's different rules that we have to follow with regards to fund balance. So think of fund balance as your overall reserve, the total amount that you have available. Then our accounting definitions, I'll say walk through the level of restriction or your ability to use those dollars. So when you did your financial statements on page 29, or if you can see this, the top category here is labeled as non-spendable. That term is by accounting definition. It really means that those dollars are not available, therefore, you don't want to spend those. The common categories that you see in there is the biggest category is delinquent property taxes. The reason it's considered to be non-spendable is because they're delinquent and people haven't paid them. They haven't paid them, so you don't have the cash. So you're waiting to receive that. Then it moves into this next category, which is restricted. Again, it's in your footnotes there. But by definition, restriction looks at who gave you the money and what's your ability to spend it. Do you have the right to make the decision on what to spend it on? And restricted really means an outside third party has said that those dollars are restricted and you have to use them for that specific purpose. So when you look at these, it's really grant type revenues, where you see references to public health and different things. You have to use them for those specific programs, so you don't, again, have a lot of flexibility to spend those dollars. Where you start having more flexibility is when you move into commitments. Here on down. Commitments, by definition, are action that the board has taken to set aside funds. Now, the board does have the right to change their mind if you wanted to. So you took that board action back in probably March, I would guess, to set aside these funds. And like I said, we got $850,000 that was set aside for future capital projects. So board action created it, board action can spend it, board action can move it around. Okay. And if you want to look at those further, I'd say look at those footnotes that I referenced. Okay. Any other thoughts or questions? Okay, well, thank you for your time.
Thank you. And that will take us into our public hearing on the county executive's proposed 2023 budget. So if there's anybody from the public who would like to speak about the 2023 budget, I invite you up to the podium. Would anybody like to make public comment about the county executive's 2023 budget? Third and final time, would anybody like to speak about the proposed budget? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Now, if anybody would like to make public comments regarding anything pertaining to the business of the county, you are invited to speak. Would anybody like to make public comment tonight? Yes, Ms. Yost?
Good evening. There are a couple of announcements before the content of my public comment. First, as you probably know, Election Day is November 8th and early voting is going on now. Dairy producers can enroll in the Dairy Margin Coverage Program until December 9th. Lastly, open enrollment in the Affordable Care Act runs until January 15th. Participating in the program ensures that the enrollees will not pay more than 8.5% of their household income through 2025. I continue to advocate for a half-cent on a dollar spent countywide sales tax, as I have done for the past 5 or so years. It is essential for our 36,000 plus property taxpayers to know that this is not a new tax on top of their existing property tax. It is, in fact, enacting a sales tax used exclusively for projects funded by property taxes is a way to reduce those property taxes. That is because other potential sources of county revenue, like sales tax revenue from tourists, are not collected here as it is in the vast majority of our Wisconsin counties. According to the Wisconsin Department of Tourism, from 2020 to 2021, direct visitor spending in Manitowoc County increased 30% to $112 million. For the years 2019, 2020, and 2021, our county's actual expenditures for debt service was $18 million, as stated in the respective year's CAFRs. Each year since 2006, when County Executive Ziegelbauer took office, our county has had to borrow money to meet our county's expenses. According to the CAFRs, the county's annual financial reports from 2006 to 2021, that's $71 million. And now our county legislators will have to decide whether to indebt our county for more than another decade to rehab a 115-year-old county courthouse. It has been assumed for you that the best course of action is to renovate the courthouse. But is it? For the amount of money you're contemplating spending and the amount of debt you'll incur on behalf of the county taxpayers over decades, maybe the money could be better spent on a new courthouse to last another 100 years. It's notable that when Ziegelbauer discusses bonding, he omits the amount of interest, fees, and repayment insurance. It isn't as though Ziegelbauer hadn't known this courthouse expense was coming. He just failed to plan and save for it. And so I continue to advocate for the half-cent on a dollar spent countywide sales tax, as the borrower is slave to the lender. Proverbs.
Thank you, Ms. Yost. Is there anybody else who would like to make public comment tonight? All right, then I will close public comment. And we have an appointment by the county executive. We're looking to appoint a new emergency services director. Travis Walk, our current emergency services director, is moving on to greener pastures. And so the nomination or the appointment is for Kayla Beckerdite. All right, motion by Supervisor Bry to approve the appointment and second by, by Supervisor Vogt. Any discussion on the appointment? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Congratulations, Kayla. I'd say welcome aboard, but you've been with us for quite some time. Would you like to say a few words?
First, I'd like to say thank you very much for the appointment and the subsequent confirmation from you guys for that appointment. For those of you that don't know me, I have been here in Manitowoc County as the Deputy Director of Emergency Management for the past almost 3 years. Prior to that, I was with the Red Cross for almost 5 and deployed to several large-scale disasters all around the United States and in some of our territories. But I am looking forward.
Thank you. Next, we'll go into committee reports. We have quite the content for our Planning and Parks Commission. Supervisor Falkowski.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This will be a hybrid merging of Planning and Park Commission meetings. I've crafted this report to flow along with the county board's agenda and resolutions and ordinances. First out of the gate, we have for consideration is from our October 24th commission meeting that approved the county conservation aids grant application, and essentially we need to have permission to apply. Therefore, I so move to accept resolution 2022-2023-28 authorizing the county conservation aids grant application.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Supervisor Menk. Any discussion? Then the clerk will conduct the vote.
Supervisors will now vote on the resolution authorizing county conservation aids grant application.
And the motion carries unanimously.
Next, at our commission meeting of September 26th, we discussed and unanimously approved the Karsten Lake Public Access Application Grant. Therefore, I so move to accept Resolution 2022-2023-29 authorizing the grant application for the Karsten Lake Public Access.
Motion. Do I see a second? Supervisor Niles. Any discussion? Seeing none, the clerk will conduct the vote.
Supervisors will now vote on the resolution authorizing grant application Carson's Lake Public Access.
Carries unanimously.
Moving along, at the October 24th meeting, the commission appreciated and discussed the honorable donation of land from the estate of Donald Scholke. This was unanimously approved for the submission to the county board, and therefore, on behalf of the commission, I so move to approve Resolution 22-2023-30, accepting the generous Harps Lake land donation from Donald Scholke Estates.
Motion. Do I see a second? Supervisor Sikowitz. Any discussion? Seeing none, the clerk will conduct the vote.
Supervisors will now vote on the resolution accepting Harper Lake land donation for Donald J. Shanky Estate.
Motion carries unanimously.
Please note that the next following rezone items did meet satisfactory rezone criteria and was consistent to our county zoning policy. Otherwise noted, they were all unanimously approved by the commissioners' vote. Shifting to our commission meeting of September 26th, we addressed and vetted the request for the Stahl revocable trust from the town of Gibson from exclusive ag to rural residential. The town of Gibson was on the record favoring the request, and Mr. Stahl testified at the commission. On behalf of the commission, I so move to accept ordinance 2022-2023-31, amending the zoning map for Stahl revocable trust.
I see a motion. Do we have a second? Supervisor Engelbrecht, any discussion? Seeing none, the clerk will conduct the vote.
Supervisors will now vote on the ordinance amending zoning map for Stahl revocable trust.
And the motion carries unanimously.
To the commission meeting of October 24th, we engaged with the rezone request from John Keel, the town of Cato, from general agriculture to small estate. The town of Cato was on the record for favoring the request, therefore I do submit ordinance 2022-2023-32, amending the zoning map for John Keel.
There's a motion. Do I see a second? Supervisor vote. Any discussion? Seeing none, the clerk will conduct the vote.
Supervisors will now vote on the ordinance amending zoning map for John Keel.
And the motion carries unanimously.
Continuing with that commission meeting, we addressed Dean and Beth Buckholz in the town of Cato for a rezone request from exclusive ag to general ag. The town of Cato is in the record for the support, and Mr. Buckholz testified. Therefore, I do submit ordinance 2022-2023-33, amending the zoning map for Dean and Beth Buckholz.
Do I see a second? Supervisor Sikowitz, any discussion? Seeing none, the clerk will conduct the vote.
Zoning map for Dean and Beth Buchholz.
Motion carries unanimously.
On that same day, the hearing for Donald Schulke from the town of Kossuth requested a change from exclusive ag to general agriculture. The town of Kossuth filed support on the record, and Kenneth Chapa testified on behalf of the commission. I do submit a motion to approve ordinance 2022-2023-34, amending the zoning map for Donald Schulke.
Do I see a second? Supervisor Marsh? Any discussion? Seeing none, the clerk will conduct the vote.
Supervisors will now vote on the ordinance amending zoning map for Donald Shanky.
Motion carries unanimously.
Wrapping up the hearings for the rezones that day, the commission discussed the Russell Fritsch request of the town of Schleswig to change the general ag to large estate. The town of Schleswig transmitted their support and was placed on the record. Mr. Fitch testified, and on behalf of the commission, I so do submit a motion to accept ordinance 2022-2023-35, amending the zoning map for Russell Fritsch.
I see a second by Supervisor Niles. Any discussion? Seeing none, the clerk will conduct the vote.
Supervisors will now vote on the ordinance amending zoning map for Russell R. Frisch.
Carries unanimously.
Last for your consideration was the commission action to forward Manitowoc County Planning and Parks Commission petition for an ordinance amendment for Chapter 4 of the Manitowoc County Code. The commission is to required to review the fees annually and are cognitive of regarding the financial or fiscal relationships to the constituents. The determination of the commission was to approve a 3% increase rounding up to the nearest $5 or an even divisible increment. Therefore, 2023-36 adapting the Manitowoc County Planning and Parks Commission fee schedules.
Motion to adopt the fee schedule. Do I see a second? Supervisor Bauman. Any discussion? Seeing none, the clerk will conduct the vote.
Supervisors will now vote on the resolution adopting Manitowoc County Planning and Park Commission fee schedule.
Motion carries unanimously.
Finally, concluding this report, a variance request from Mr. Keel was approved and sanitary violations were submitted to the Corporate Council for enforcement. The snowmobile trail maintenance contract for the upcoming season was approved and several conference trips for staff improvement were approved at both meetings. The next meeting date is scheduled for Monday, December 5th. Please check your meeting notices in your email. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That is the end of my report.
Supervisor Falkowski. Next, we have the Aging and Disability Board. Supervisor Wagner.
Thank you, Chairman Martell. The ADRC will be meeting the end of this month, November 22nd, up in Kewaunee County at 10 o'clock. That's the end of that report.
Thank you, Supervisor Wagner. Board of Health, Supervisor Metzger.
We will be meeting November 17th at 5 p.m. We normally would be meeting November 10th, but the chamber has picked 15 young people that has done a lot in the community, and Stephanie Lambert will be getting an award that night at 5 p.m. at Silver Valley. So if you see her, congratulate her on her award. That's the end of my report.
Supervisor Metzger, excellent reason to move your meeting. Congratulations to Stephanie. Next, we have our Criminal Justice Coordinating Council, Supervisor Falkowski.
Mr. Chairman, November 2nd, and it will be held at the C&T building at room 111 at 4:45 p.m. Thank you, that's it.
Thank you, Supervisor Falkowski. Executive Committee, I have nothing to report, but we will be having an executive committee meeting in the near future to discuss a resolution for an ad hoc committee for the courthouse project. So just kind of keep that on your radar. I will let everybody know when we are having that meeting. Next, we have the Expo Ice Center Board. Supervisor Sikowitz.
The October Expo Ice Center Board meeting was held on October 12th. The board reviewed and selected county fair pictures to be submitted for the Wisconsin State Fair competition held in January at the upcoming Wisconsin Associated Fairs Conference. The theme for the 2023 Manitowoc County Fair was chosen, and it is Pirates of the Carrots and Beans, with colors of green, orange, and the base color royal blue being selected. The theme and colors will be used in all marketing materials, and the youth exhibitors use the theme and colors to decorate the barns. The Manitowoc County Soil and Water Director was present to discuss the potential of changing the indoor vendor hours in the Merchants Building, and this will be discussed at our next month's meeting. 4 board members will be entering the District 4 meeting to be held at the Washington County Fair this month. Thank you. And then I'd like to just say happy birthday to you and congratulations on your future 15 nomination. So, that's the end of my report.
Thank you very much, Supervisor Sikowitz. We've got 2 birthdays today, Supervisor Bry as well, so we're birthday twins. Next, we're Finance Committee, Supervisor Hanson.
Mr. Chair, I'm still trying to digest carrots and beans. I like it. I like it. Finance Committee met. We disallowed a bid on a property. The bid was under the value of the property quite a bit, and we will not accept a bid if it's not even close. So hopefully that property will come back with a higher bid at some point in time. The second thing, and I'm going to divide this in two parts, but part one is that, and then the resolution tonight authorizing the claim against the dog license fund. We've done this a couple times over the 20-plus years some of us have been around. Make the story short, a dog attacked another dog, caused $1,600 in medical bills. So you can claim that against the county's license fund. And the county has the right to go back and then sue to get that money back if we wish from the offending dog. So the committee is forwarding that to you, so I move that we accept the resolution to take $1,000 out of the license fee and pay dog injury cost.
Motion, second by Supervisor Bry. Any discussion? Seeing none, the clerk will conduct the vote.
Supervisors will now vote on the resolution authorizing claim against dog license fund. Kevin Benversi.
And the motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. That was worth just seeing the look on Peter's face as he was explaining this to us at the committee meeting. Second part of my report is, I sent out an email to the department heads and have had very little, if any, concerns about the budgets, but I wanted to get their opinion on the budget. Got very little negative at all. So it looks like the department heads are happy with that. We did not have a lot of public input tonight on the budget. So my question is this, ladies and gentlemen. We can have a finance meeting on November 7th. If anybody has any concerns that they want to bring before the November 10th meeting to approve the budget, if there's anybody who wants to do that, we will meet. But I haven't really heard anything too burning from anybody sitting on this board, changes that they want in that budget. So as of now, we will meet before that county board meeting on November 10th. We'll have a, JJ, I think we're going to make it a little more than a stand-up meeting. Probably 45 to 30-minute meeting before, just in case anybody comes with anything they want to discuss, talk to the committee about. But that's up to you. As I said, we didn't get a lot of public input, and department heads seem pretty pleased with what they are getting throughout that budget, so the rest is up to us. And is there any feeling here that you want a meeting, a separate meeting, or do you think 45 minutes before the board meeting is okay? I'm seeing heads nodding this way rather than this way, so that's good. All right, we will do the stand-up meeting before. If anything comes up, we'll do it that night. That's my report, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Supervisor Hanson. Next, we've got the Highway Committee, Supervisor Drill. Banky, I'm sorry.
We're here. Thanks, Mr. Chair. We did not meet in October. Our next meeting will be November 8th, Election Day. I talked to Commissioner Grodiget this afternoon. Bridges are on good target to being finished. Most of them will be finished in the mid-November time period. Today was our first day off of 410s, back to the 40-hour, 5-day work schedule started today. And we also, they have their safety week this week that they will be doing safety training out at the highway department. They do that every year. And so that's kind of something that they look forward to as well. So I have resolution number 11, petitioning for airport improvement aid and designating the Secretary of Transportation as agent. I so move, Mr. Chair.
I see see a motion and a second by Supervisor Giroux. We're wondering if the committee has acted on this resolution?
Yes,
Yes.
I asked him that this afternoon, earlier. It wasn't at our last meeting, but
Okay.
I had heard it was in the Corp Council's realm for a while.
Okay. Then we are good to proceed. Is there any other discussion on the resolution? Second by Giroux. All right, seeing none, the clerk will conduct the vote.
Supervisors will now vote on the resolution petitioning for our airport improvement aid and designating the Secretary of Transportation as agent.
Motion carries unanimously.
Mr. Chair,
Thank you, Supervisor Benke. Next, Human Services Board, Supervisor Bry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was not at the last meeting last Thursday, so I will turn it over to Vice Chair Supervisor Shimalonis, and she'll give the report.
Yeah. The education topic was an update on the drug court. Don Sweet is leaving his position in the drug court in November, and Ellen Float, will be replacing him. AODA Services, which is Alcohol Other Drug Abuse Department, has been in need of someone with a master's degree and experience in alcohol and drug counseling for the past year. So they asked the committee to change this position to a support person position to help track people, such as collecting data, makes sure that everyone in crisis beds are getting tracked and so on. And this is to help keep track of the minimum requirements for grants and so on. The motion was made to do so, and it passed. Nancy Randolph, who is the Deputy Director of Children and Family, is retiring at the end of the year and will be replaced by Sue Ader. I hope I said that name correctly. Patricia Dodge is also retiring at the end of the year and being replaced by someone from within the system, Lori Fure. I just want to say that Patricia had a two-page complimentary, I don't know what word I want to use, about Nancy. And I think Patricia deserves a two-page complimentary about her because she did a good job. And I haven't been there that long, but I could tell she was pretty passionate and she did a good job. That's the end. Oh, the next meeting is December 8th. That's the end of the report.
Thank you, Supervisor Shimalonis. Next, we have Land Conservation and the UW Extension and Agriculture Committee. Supervisor Wagner.
Thank you, Chairman Martell. The Land Conservation meeting will be November 17th at 4:45 at the County Office Complex. The UW Extension, Education, and Agriculture Committee, we had presentation by Kathy Tees along with Miss Broccoli for the FoodWise program. They highlighted the work they are doing in schools with Harvest of the Month. The 4-H program, they had a family fun night, and approximately 200 were in attendance at that program. And Katrina Pionic is organizing a new Cloverbud 4-H club due to the number of younger youth interested in joining 4-H. That's the end of my report. The next meeting for the extension would be December 15th at the County Office Complex. Thank you.
Supervisor Wagner. Sounds like the message this Halloween is eat your vegetables. We have a report from Public Safety Committee. Supervisor Falkowski. Oh, Personnel. I'm sorry. I skipped ahead in the agenda. I couldn't forget you, Supervisor Marsh.
Thank you, and I have a report. We met before the county board meeting tonight, and two of the items that dealt with the resignation of our information system manager, and basically, two of the items were restructuring the setup of that. Also, we discussed and acted on the reallocation of Human Services Department FTE from AODA case manager to substance abuse technician, which was discussed in the Human Services report. Also, we discussed Sheriff's Department Emergency Management recruitment update, and also very nice to meet the new person who is taking over Travis's job, and congratulations to her, even though she's been around for a while. Anyway, we also approved to hire an HSD Business Division Manager, Deputy Director above midpoint. I think I covered everything. We accomplished a lot in 15 minutes. So our next meeting will be December 6th at 4:30, and that ends my report.
Supervisor Marsh. Now we have Public Safety. Supervisor Falkowski.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Public Safety Committee met on October 12th and completed the normal meeting protocols, including acknowledging the correspondence. There was no public comment. Lieutenant Jason Yost from the Sheriff's Department reported about a noble donation from Georgiana Colbeck. These funds will target training and equipment to enhanced investigative units when working on cybercrime and other related scams. During our discussion, the committee would like to remind everyone and anyone listening to be vigilant about the too good to miss opportunities or the pressured scare tactics involving money on the phone or email or text. The committee, along with law enforcement, would like to create a greater awareness about the scams currently in circulation. At least pause and call the local law enforcement for clarification. Our committee extended our appreciation to the Sheriff's Department and the detectives on behalf of the citizens battling digital crimes. Therefore, on behalf of the committee's unanimous approval, I so move to accept with gratitude the resolution 2022-2023-39, the donation from Georgiana Colbeck. Sorry, Georgiana.
To accept the donation, do I see a second? Supervisor Mink. Any discussion? Seeing none, the clerk will conduct the vote.
Supervisors will now vote on the resolution accepting donation for Georgina Colbeck.
And the motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. The Director of Emergency Services, Travis Walk, reported for the last time to the committee, departing to focus on radiological emergency management. Kayla Backerdite will fulfill the position and will take leadership for the department. Congratulations. On briefing from Walk, he touched on the joint dispatch and the difficulties of stabilizing the staff numbers. Currently, there are 3 or 4 openings and 2 additional persons in training, but they need more. There has been discussion about the fiscal challenges about the position and the labor market in general. This situation with dispatch cascades into areas where training seems to be continuous and diverts from concentrated departments. After hearing the anecdotal reasons describing the positions and compensation, I did contact personnel and for a granular understanding of the banding method and models in relationship to the dispatch in particular. This discussion had provided a cleaner grasp and understanding of those issues. I also appreciated the Excel sheet personnel sent out on October 19th referencing all the staff levels. The good news is Dr. Schrader is working with dispatch to certify medical procedures provided to dispatch. They are always looking to ways of optimizing their process. He is also one of our deputy coroners, by the way. In another area, emergency management, the new mobile command center vehicle has been delayed, but expected to be delivered on late December or early January. Arrangements has been for housing the vehicle, it's covered. The upgrades to room 111 and the C&T building is scheduled, but also has been delayed. The emergency generator at the Expo Center has been scratched due to the cost increases. The August 22 exercise with emergency planning was educational for all and successful. Looking forward, there will be preparedness exercises in 2023 related to nuclear emergencies, including hostile takeover of a plant. The community warmly, and I wish you also warmly, wish the best for Mr. Wack, who's in the back, for his services and for the improvement for the department. Our next meeting date is November 9th at the C&T building at 5 p.m. Thank you. That is my report.
Thank you, Supervisor Falkowski. We have Public Works Committee, Supervisor Druryl.
Supervisor Sikowitz, if he's prepared.
Assuming for that, I forgot about that, but I can kind of summarize it. Okay. Forgot I ran that one last time, sorry. The county executive was there and presented the budget for the Public Works Department. We also had a report on the recycling, which the numbers are down just a little bit this year, but by the end of the year, they figured they should be pretty much as a profit. Buildings projects are up to date as far as everything. I think there was only one, Jerry, that wasn't completed yet. You're not listening. Okay. And as far as the expo goes, everything there is just fine. As you can tell, we're picking our colors and themes. So that's the end of the report.
All right, thank you, Supervisor Sikowitz. Transportation Coordinating Committee, Supervisor Hacker.
The Transportation Coordinating Committee has not met since our last board meeting. Our next scheduled meeting is November 16th. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Supervisor Hacker. Announcements. Our next county board meeting is going to be on November 10th at 6 o'clock. So that's different times, so make sure that you have that in your calendar. The only other announcements I have is to remind you to vote on November 8th. Next Tuesday is our midterm election, so please do that. Are there any other announcements? Otherwise, I'd be looking for a motion to adjourn. Moved by Supervisor Druryl, second by Supervisor Heller. We are adjourned.
That just reminds me of our last Public Works meeting with Supervisor Zimmer.